With the recent Fallout series coming out on Amazon, a lot of new players have entered the Fallout game arena. After joining a Fallout fan group, first-time players would often ask which game they should play first, which, ironically enough, would end up in a Fallout. Essentially, you end up with a lot of people who suggest Fallout 4, but then another large group support either Fallout 3, New Vegas, or both. But why? Now, if we quickly put these games side to side, 4 should win out statistically speaking. It's the most recent installment, it's got the best graphics, the best gunplay, most weapon customizations, more quests and side quests, more dungeons, more locations on the map, settlement building, more companions. Essentially, it wins out on the surface hands down. That being said, people still stand by Fallout 3 and New Vegas as the better games. So today I want to talk about why. What is the reasoning behind supporting these games or considering Fallout 4 inferior? Is it just fanboy hysteria or nostalgia playing at the heartstrings? After speaking with many fans of the series from both sides, I have a pretty good idea on the elements that impact someone's decision on this matter. I believe it comes down to 5 main areas which I'll cover, with point 4 and 5 probably being the most impactful. But before I dive in, there will be potential spoilers for Fallout 3, New Vegas and 4, so watch at your own discretion. Also, this video is primarily focused on the 3 games I've just mentioned. I'll touch briefly on Fallout 1 and 2, but the most debated seem to be the 3 that I've mentioned. Fallout 1 and 2 paved the way for these games' success, so I don't mean any disrespect or to neglect them, but that will be for another video. Quick side note, I am a new channel, so if you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And I also want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far, it means absolutely everything. Anyway, back to the video. Fallout 1 and 2 came out in 97 and 98 respectively. The games offered a top-down perspective and turn-based combat system. Both games received good reviews. Bethesda acquired the rights to Fallout in 2007, and then Fallout 3 was released in October of 2008. Taking a completely different angle, Bethesda stuck to what they knew, and they made the game in a first-person, 3D, open-world environment. They essentially copied the exact same formula that they'd done in Morrowind and Oblivion, but in a different genre. New Vegas would follow in 2010, made in the same engine, but it was produced by Obsidian Entertainment. It played so similar it was almost like an expansion for Fallout 3, albeit with improvements. Then for the next gen console, Fallout 4 was released by Bethesda in 2015. All 3 of these games scored high in reviews, averaging 9 out of 10. The first thing to discuss is the world building and the ambience. In Fallout 3, you start out in a vault. You are literally shown scenes of you being born, being a toddler, a child, a teenager, and then eventually an adult, at which point you're forced to leave the vault. This introduction is incredibly underrated because it made us live the vault lifestyle for a long time, meaning that when we did finally get to see the outside world, it would be as foreign and as shocking to us, the player, as it would be if the situation was real. Now, after you exit the vault, the first thing that will hit you is how bleak and destroyed this world is. The ground is brown, there is no grass, the trees are barren, and the buildings are demolished. It is also eerily quiet and empty. The sky is grey and the world looks completely abandoned. Now, most people will go left to a town called Springvale. The first site that they'll see is the Springvale School. It's the first building that we can enter, so most people will go in to check it out. The first sight they'll be greeted with is dead bodies hanging from the ceiling, and the first human that the player will interact with is going to try to immediately kill them. This is the tone for Fallout 3. When I was playing this game, I forgot how dark it is, figuratively and literally. It's a horrible place to be. The lack of colours is a design decision, and everywhere you go, you're met with the same grey and brown colours. As you travel through the capital wasteland, you'll see destroyed skyscrapers and landmarks. Everything outside of the city feels barren and there is barely anything left. In the city, everything feels tight and claustrophobic. In order to get around the city, you often have to go through tunnels and train lines. It's confusing to get around and incredibly inconvenient, but this matches how something would look after being destroyed. Paths would be blocked and you would have to continuously try to find alternate paths. Everywhere you go, you'll run into enemies, raiders, super mutants, feral ghouls, and much more. But everything wants to kill you. Finding a fellow friendly traveller is almost impossible in this wasteland. You are alone and the world wants you dead. Add to this, when you get to the towns in the games, they're almost as bad as the rest of the wasteland. People are living in old rusted ships, towns built from scraps of broken aircrafts. Basically, they look horrible and they're not places that you'd want to live. You wouldn't want to live there. When you do speak to NPCs, they're often struggling, dying, or trying to dupe you for their own selfish gains. They've put together settlements, but it certainly doesn't feel like a home, more of a corner to survive just for another day. Fallout 3 captured the post-apocalyptic world Ambience perfectly. We were in the vault and we're told the outside world is an awful place. In Fallout 3, it really is. People on the surface, ourselves included, spend every day just trying to survive, just to find enough food and water to get by, or to try to get from one place to another without being murdered. It emphasized how good it was to be living in a vault because the outside world was so much worse. People out in this world are surviving, but they're not really sure why they're doing it. The environment is oppressive and depressive. This whole vibe captures exactly what the world would feel like, and it was something completely different to what we experienced in any other game, especially compared to Oblivion. Now compare this to Fallout 4. We enter the vault and we leave very shortly without having spent much time in there. When we leave the vault, the world has been damaged, but there is a blue sky. Vegetation has survived. Remember in Fallout 3, we're greeted by raiders in that school? In Fallout 4, we're greeted by a robot friend from the past. This is Sanctuary, and it's safe. All over the map, there are settlements with survivors who are farming and getting by just fine. They don't panic when we approach, it's a safer place. When we visit towns like Diamond City and Goodneighbor, the town is lit up with bright colours. People seem happy, they have shops, barberies, restaurants, and even bars. In fact, when it's Halloween, they put up Halloween decorations, and when it's Christmas Day in game, they put up Christmas trees. People wear regular clothes, and they seem to be pretty happy. This is a completely different atmosphere to Fallout 3, and it reflects that. In Fallout 3, the world is destroyed, and we're just out there with a need to survive. In every corner, danger is lurking, and we feel vulnerable that we could be killed at any moment, and we're cautious, and we choose our battles wisely. In Fallout 4, we are introduced to a group of Minutemen, who immediately join us to Sanctuary, but we also get a power armor set and a minigun early on as well. This leads to us gunning down the most dangerous monster in Fallout 3 and New Vegas very easily, the Deathclaw. We do not fear this wasteland, as it seems not many people do. There are settlements and factions settled everywhere, and things like raiders and feral ghouls almost seem more of an inconvenience than anything else. The world looks beautiful, but it loses a bit of those attributes that made Fallout 3 so unique. In Fallout New Vegas, we essentially have the same experience as in 3. We start off in Good Springs, which is a town out in the Mojave Wasteland. In the distance, we can see New Vegas, which is known as the only safe haven in the area. As we explore the wasteland, we're constantly attacked and often will die. It's a horrible place to be, and the hope of making it to New Vegas is what keeps us, and everyone else, motivated to push on. When we arrive in New Vegas, we find out that it's very difficult to get into the main strip, and the surrounding area outside the gates, Freeside, is a dangerous slum-like area. First time you visit, a bodyguard will offer to escort you through because that's how bad crime is, and often crime is happening around us all the time that we're here. Again, New Vegas captured the horrible danger of the wasteland and used the strip in New Vegas to show the difference. So, getting to my point, Fallout 4 did not have this survival feeling. In 3 and New Vegas, you never truly felt safe. You are fighting against all the odds and you have to think strategically. You cannot go certain directions, otherwise you'll be instantly killed. You just have to try to survive. Fallout 4 did not give this feeling, instead reflecting a happier, safer environment where we could trust NPCs. We met lots of settlers and survivors on the road who didn't really seem to be struggling too much. The sky was blue, the grass is green, we threw on our radio and our power armor, and we went running through the wasteland completely fearless. In Fallout 3, I remember going through the dark subway stations, listening to the radio, just happy to have someone to keep me company, the voice on the radio, to help get me through. In Fallout 3 in New Vegas, I had to adapt to the world and try to learn its ways to survive. In Fallout 4, the world adapted to me and revolved around me as well. In Fallout 3 New Vegas, you were the underdog in a world where civilization is just trying to survive. In Fallout 4, you were a superhero in a world where civilization had already got a grip on the world and started rebuilding. This is one of the reasons why people may prefer Fallout 3 and New Vegas in comparison to Fallout 4, the atmosphere. Now, the second reason why people would prefer Fallout 3 and New Vegas to 4 is the ability to customize your own playthrough. In Fallout 3, they introduced the karma system, which was a scale that kept track of your reputation. For every good thing you did, you'd receive good karma, and then for every bad decision you took, you would lose karma. This scale standing had a very real impact on how NPCs interacted with you, what dialogue options you had available, and what random events would take place. You could decide what you wanted to be. In Fallout New Vegas, rather than a karma system, they had a faction reputation version. So there are 12 factions in the Mojave Wasteland, and each action you take against one of these factions impacts your standings with them. So if you shoot a NCR Ranger, your reputation with that faction will drop, but consequently you would gain reputation with Kaiser's Legion. But you couldn't have both. This allows customization for your character. At the beginning of Fallout 3, a character approaches you with a side quest to blow up the town of Megaton. That's right, literally destroy one of the towns in the game. So if you decide to do that, you'll lose karma, but you'll be given a home in Tenpenny Tower. Or you can turn the person in who asked you to do this and you'll get a house in Megaton and you'll gain karma. But you cannot do both in one playthrough. You have to make the decision, and that leads to great character customization and a unique play experience. Will you be the evil individual who blows up the town for self-gain? Or are you a good Samaritan at heart who is happy to help everyone else? In New Vegas, you can either choose to side with the NCR or Kaiser's Legion, but not both. This impacts certain quests, player interactions, and other elements of the game. In order to see everything, you would have to play the game a few times just to see it. You cannot see everything in one single playthrough. This is exactly how Baldur's Gate 3 was designed as well, and it leads to great replayability and personal experiences. In Fallout 4, we eventually will get to meet all 4 factions, and guess what? We can be best buddies with all of them. In fact, we have to be. We can't really upset them or get kicked out. The Brotherhood of Steel hates simps, but the Railroad loves simps. But we can work for both and literally bring simps around the Brotherhood of Steel and it won't make a difference. They will still promote us to king or queen of their faction. In Fallout 4, we can experience everything in one playthrough, but we won't feel any relationship to our character. No matter how many times you restart the game, you're going to have the same experience. In Fallout 3 and New Vegas, you are given a blank slate. You can be an evil murderer or a wasteland hero, and this will impact your game experience. In Fallout 4, you are the hero, and that's that. You could be mean to the Minutemen every chance you get, but they're still going to promote you to be their leader. You can tell the Brotherhood that you disagree with everything that they stand for, but they'll still promote you to Knight rank no matter what. There's no freedom to create your own character and customize your experience. A lot of this comes down to 2 things, the dialogue and the NPC protection. So in Fallout 3 in New Vegas, you had dialogue options from a list, but you could see exactly what you were going to say. The sentence was right there. If it was a speak check, you'd be given a percentage chance of passing in Fallout 3, and in New Vegas, there are requirements for each element. So for example, if you were talking about bombs, your dialogue option may require a certain level in explosives to pass the speech check. Or maybe you're speaking with a thief, and there's a dialogue option which requires a certain sneak level to pass. Essentially, this again comes back to the character customization, as you cannot be 100 in every stat. You have to choose what you want to specialize in, which again creates more character customization, more role playing. But the point in these two games is that we knew what we were going to say specifically, and most times we could be a complete tool and stop the quest, or we could turn the NPC hostile. In Fallout 4, they opted to give us 4 dialogue options with a couple of words. Now this is bad in 2 ways. Number 1, we don't really know what we're going to say until we press it, and secondly, it doesn't really matter. In Fallout 3 in New Vegas, what you say will change the interaction and the outcome. In Fallout 4, no matter what you pick, it's going to yield the same outcome every time. So, for example, when you run into Kellogg in the main story, we have 4 dialogue options. Where's Sean, or Sutton? End of the line, give me my son, or you're a dead man. Okay, so 2 of those are threats, and the last is a demand. Now, if you want to turn this into a fight, you would probably pick end of the line or you're a dead man. But let's say on this playthrough, my character is also evil and he wants to get to know Kellogg. Which one would I pick? I'd probably click where's Sean. But guess what happens if you say this? Now, I can't say it on YouTube, but essentially we'd say, listen, you piece of trash mercenary mother hubber, give me my son, which inevitably results in gunfire. So my point is, in Fallout 4 there is an illusion of dialogue decision or character customization, but in reality it's not really there. The game wants you to hate Kellogg, and you have to do that, no matter what option you take. In Fallout 3 in New Vegas, we had the freedom to make real decisions that impacted the outcome. In those 2 games, we would have had the option to team up with Kellogg or even become his mate. Now, Morrowind is still held up as a masterpiece, despite it being an older game, and I have 2 friends who absolutely love it. When I asked them what is the main reason, they both said the same thing, is that you can kill any person in the game, which can either ruin the chance of you completing a quest or the main story, but basically, you have the freedom to kill anyone at any time. Now, the same thing is true in New Vegas and Fallout 3, for the most part. The guy who handles the radio and gives you the main quest in free, yup, you can put him down. Leader at Tenpenny Tower who gives you a major side quest, yup, you can gun him down. Want to just kill every single faction leader in New Vegas for no reason and remove 90% of the main story? Go ahead. In Fallout 4, NPCs who are considered important are protected and they cannot die. This takes away a lot of freedom, as the game's telling you, you can't kill them, as that would change things and we want you to do it this way. This lack of freedom and the ability to impact the world on a playthrough is another reason why people would prefer New Vegas and Fallout 3 over Fallout 4. In the 4th installment, the experience will be the same every time. In Fallout 3 and New Vegas, we can bend the world to our will and we can make each experience unique to the last. In fact, Starfield received a lot of criticism for this exact same reason. You couldn't kill basically any NPC considered important, which was a huge list, and this upset players. It's not the fact that they want to be able to just go around killing people, it's more that they want the freedom to be able to do so, to create their own story instead of the one that you want them to play. The ability to have an impact on the world. Free Dog is the main radio DJ in Fallout 3, a major part in the game. If you kill him, someone called Margaret will take his place. That is freedom, the ability to make a huge change to the game and see the results of your actions impact your playthrough. The third reason is writing and quest design. In Fallout 3, there are 59 total quests. In New Vegas, there are approximately 102, and in 4, there's 191. So Fallout 4 wins out in terms of quantity. But let's talk about quality. First of all, the writing in 3 and New Vegas felt very mature. It was dark. For example, in Fallout 3, there is a quest where you go to Tenpenny Tower. A ghoul is trying to get in and the residents won't let him. We then have 3 options to this quest. We can either go and kill all the ghouls, or we can help the ghouls sneak into the tower and then kill all the residents. That is dark, but then there is a third option. we can create a compromise where we can convince the humans to let the ghouls in. After this, we get to see everyone getting along in the town. If we leave and then come back a few days later, only the ghouls remain and the humans are gone. With some optional investigation, we can then find a room where all the humans have been killed and stashed, and then we can choose how to react to this. This is great writing. There is no real winning situation and every ending is kinda sad. This is the wasteland and it's brutal. There are no happy stories here. This is just one of many examples of great quests in Fallout 3. The amount of freedom that quest gives us to choose an outcome which literally impacts the world and our playthrough, as well as the tone, is so well done. New Vegas has the same sort of writing where decisions come into play, and it's quite dark as well. In Fallout New Vegas there's a quest called Beyond the Beef, involving a casino. Someone's son has been stolen, and if we investigate, we find out that they have in fact abducted him and they're going to eat them. Now, we have so many options on how to handle this quest. We can free the son and give up one of our companions to be sacrificed instead, or we can convince some poor other fools, or we can trick the son's dad into just leaving, or we can expose the casino as cannibals. But the point is, the writing is so good and the outcomes vary. These are very dark topics and they leave an impact on you. With 8 different endings, you'd have to play it 8 times to see it all. But I also feel like an adult when I play this because of the mature content. In Fallout 4, almost every quest has no decision to be made, and even if it does, your decision doesn't really have any impact. Fallout 4 gives us an illusion that you have a decision to be made, but in reality, you really only have one decision, and even if you make that decision, nothing will change the world or interaction with the person who gave the quest. It's so safe, and a lot of the writing seems a lot more basic as well. Fallout 3 and New Vegas dealt with dark themes that you had to really think about in order to figure everything out. 4 felt like it was written so that anybody could understand it. Now, it's not just that though. In Fallout 3 and New Vegas, the quests were all unique. In 4, a lot of the quests are very repetitive and a lot of times they're procedurally generated. So for example, early in the game we meet the Minutemen. Now, the leader of the Minutemen is called Preston, and he's a famous Fallout meme because he constantly gives quests about another settlement needing our help. The quest is always the same. Go to X location, speak to X citizen, and then they'll ask you to go to X dungeon and either kill or retrieve X thing. These quests do not end and they are very repetitive. Now, do you see the difference in writing? The 2 quests that I just told you about from Fallout 3 and New Vegas probably made you think about them, but the ones in 4 are a lot more generic and basic. No real plot line, just randomly created. Not just this, but there's a new feature that they added in Fallout 4 called Settlement Building. It's sort of like The Sims but Fallout style. Now you can customize any of the available settlements and craft them however you'd like, and there's a lot. Now all of this is introduced very early in the game, and the first thing that people tend to experience is these repetitive settler quests that are repeatable and the base building mechanics. Now, if you love base building, well, you're going to have a blast. But if it's not your cup of tea, then you're going to be a little disappointed. The building mechanics are awesome, and I can see how much fun it would be, but the game leans into it so heavily that it ends up becoming a huge part of the game. There are 37 settlements in Fallout 4. So instead of getting unique quests with outcomes, you get generic copy and paste quests, where you have to go to X location, do the job, then unlock that settlement, do some building, and come back and help them out often. Now, some people will love that, and that's absolutely fine. My point is that it is so different to what the other Fallout games have done before it. They also have quests from the Railroad, Brotherhood of Steel, which also use the procedural generation, where the quests never end, and the computer will generate locations and tasks. These quests and the building mechanics will lead to longer playthroughs and means the game can technically continue forever on one playthrough, but it's just kind of bland. Starfield also suffered from this after they kept putting quests in that will be randomly created. No plot line, just go here and do this one task. They never end, the game never has to end, but it's extremely mundane for some people. See, now I can't wait to play Fallout 3 again and try and help the ghouls clear the tower this time out to see what happens, or on my next playthrough I might blow up the town of Megaton. I might replay New Vegas so I can see what happens if I side with Kaiser's Legion instead of going with the NCR and see a different ending. Am I excited to start a new character and do these generic copy and paste quests in Fallout 4? Not really. I know Bethesda have started putting these repeatable quests and base building in the more recent games, and some people will love that part, but that is another one of the reasons why some people may prefer Fallout 3 and New Vegas to Fallout 4. And the final reason is nostalgia. It's only natural that we love the games of our childhood. Fallout 3 was my first Fallout game, and I loved it. It was different to anything that I'd ever played. It will always have a special place in my heart, but someone's first Fallout game may be Fallout 4, and they'll look at it within the same light that I see Fallout 3. But the point of this whole video is that every one of these games is special. All of them scored incredibly well, and they're all different and appeal to different audiences. Like, if your favourite element would be base building, I wouldn't recommend Fallout 3 to you. If you liked role-playing and customization, I wouldn't recommend Fallout 4 to you. Each game is great and it deserves the respect, and Fallout 4 looks better, plays better, and has more content than the other two. No matter which game you pick, you will have a great experience. I know a lot of people have told new players that they should play Fallout 3 or New Vegas over Fallout 4, but these games are dated now. At the time they looked and felt great, but time has taken a toll on them. Some people may need the newer graphics to even give the series a chance, and that's all down to the person. I love Fallout 3, I love New Vegas, and I love Fallout 4. I'm not here to say which one is the best. I just wanted to explain the reasoning of why someone would stand up for Fallout 3 or New Vegas and then seem to throw shade on Fallout 4. It doesn't mean it's a bad game, it's just a different game. And since everyone has different likes and dislikes, every game will impact each person differently. In summary, I hope I've explained some of the reasons why someone may prefer Fallout 3 and New Vegas to Fallout 4, despite their limitations and why they get so passionate about those games. I hope I have also managed to convey that all three of these games are outstanding for their own reasons. There is no better one, as they're all outstanding in different ways. To new players, play any of them that you feel like, in any order, but mainly, play them all, because they all deserve your time. Anyway, that's it for this one. I mean, what do you guys think? Have I represented and summarized well for people who are fans of New Vegas and Fallout 3 what we love about those games, or can you think of any other points? Or do you think I'm wrong altogether? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I'm Av Gaming, where we do video game analysis, identifying what makes great games great and what could make good games great as well. Thanks for watching. Av out.